Welcome to RevCast, a civilization podcast focused on its console platforms. Elthrasher,
the Headless 10,
TyShine.
So I don't think I've ever made 4 Keshik armies. I've probably made 3. I usually make 1 or 2.
I think I did against you once, but that was probably the only time.
Oh, well, that was the Mongol versus Mongol
Yes.
game. Yeah, we each made like 15 of them in that game. That was the exception, though. That's was not a normal game at all.
Well, I had religion, so...
We both had religion eventually.
Yeah.
Time once again for RevCast. Welcome. I'm your lead co-host, elthrasher, and I am joined by TyShine.
Heyo.
Now a permanent co-host, and we have a special guest host, that is MadDjinn, who we'll introduce in just a minute. I wanted to quickly offer apologies that Headless can't be here for this recording. I am in contact with the State of Connecticut Department of Corrections because I think that this is pretty important. He's able to continue his work. A little credit card fraud, I mean, what's the big deal? So hopefully he'll be back for the next episode. Anyway, our guest host is someone that should be known to a lot of players out there, especially if you've been by the 2K forums, because I think his post count is almost as high as mine is.
Oh, much higher.
Much higher. Okay, well, could be. So, what's your claim to fame, MadDjinn?
Oh, claim to fame.
What can you brag about?
I like the Mongols. See, bragging rights. I've started most of the tournaments on the 2K forums, and most of them have actually ran successfully. I've put the Mongols into the top 10 pure, thanks to Pedal to Metal throwing that gauntlet down. I've got probably one of the longest running threads on 2K forums, the All About My MP Free-for-All Day. That thing's been going for over a year and a half now, and it's still going strong with everybody putting their influence in.
Still going strong. Yes, I've posted to that thread quite a lot.
As have I.
Probably half the posts or so.
There's a lot of good information in there.
If you really had the time to go through that thread and read everything, you would really see an evolution in strategy, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Another thing about you is that you play on both consoles, don't you?
Yeah.
I know TyShine does a little bit as well, right?
Used to.
You used to. You don't have the PS3 anymore?
I don't have... Yeah, I sold that.
No, I started on the PS3 and then made the jump to Xbox after a while, just because on the PS3 was just so painful to get a match.
Right. But now you've got the chat room there. Seems like a good thing. I wish that we had that on the Xbox, but there's no such animal. PS3 players can go over to the 2K forums and get an invite to that chat room and start participating in some fun unranked games so you don't have to face the frustration of waiting forever and ever and ever to get a ranked game.
Oh, exactly. And it's actually really good because we also run the PS3 side of the tournaments from that chat room.
And I always liked that it was understood what Civs people were going to be going in ahead of time, so it wasn't just, America, America, America over.
Yeah, we actually banned them.
Yeah, I remember. For good reason.
First, we have some fan mail.
Yay!
This is, I think, our 3rd fan letter sent directly to the show, and second fan sending mail, because the first 2 were from the same listener. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and read this. It's addressed Grayson, Elthrasher, and the Headless 10. Just wanted to say you've got more than one fan, really. Okay, that hurts just a little bit, but I'll go on. My dad and I, yes, my dad, just started listening to your podcast, and we're thrilled that someone dedicates so much time to such in-depth profile of our favorite game. Admittedly, he and I are not online players. We play mostly team games when we play and play side by side, having stumbled across horse rushes and expansion techniques outside the online game. That said, it's really good to hear in-depth strategy based on this game, and I definitely enjoy your Civ sections most, as I almost only play random and usually hate it when I'm cribbed with the Russians, but love having the Mongols. Hey, I'm a masochist. Anyway, keep on keeping on. Cheers, Raz. Well, thanks, Raz. It's nice to hear from you. Maybe someday you'll get online and play with us. But if you're enjoying what you're doing, then that's cool. You didn't ask a question, so I guess we're done with that.
Next time, ask a question.
No. It's fine. It's fine. If you don't have a question, you don't have to ask a question. It's nice to get fan mail. obviously we have MadDjinn here, so we need to talk about the Mongols. It wouldn't make any sense to do anything else.
Yeah, I've kind of become synonymous with the Mongols.
Well, if you stop using them so much, I mean.
But they're so good.
I don't know about that.
I always like playing the Mongols because it's a different experience than any other Civ, and you can get a lot of interesting cities and try to make them into something. But MadDjinn really pioneered the strategy of horse rushing with them, which wasn't something that I think that makes sense right away, that you really think about right away, because you're horse rushing with the Aztecs or something like that, you're going to rush mostly with gold. You're not going to hammer them out, but you don't really have that option most of the time with the Mongol.
Yeah.
Having followed your strategy and used it quite a lot, it works pretty well. It's fun.
He says that you've never really read the whole strategy, have you?
I have read the entire strategy.
I think I have too, the entire...
3 threads?
Yeah.
And then there's the unwritten one.
I might have read that too.
Yeah, I've kind of got my own style with it now. And
That's the thing, is the Mongols are just so different from everybody else. And you can say that for a couple of civs. Like the Indians are very different with some of their bonuses, but the Mongols just, gold is precious, and you've got a ton of little cities to go along with very little gold, and so being very smart about what you do with that is very important. And frankly, if you play the Mongols for about 100 games, all your other civs get way better.
You know, I have found that myself, except for I get really bummed when I'm not playing the Mongols and I take an AI capital early on, and maybe I set it on science, it's like 3 pop. So I'm working 3 sea tiles and I'm like, what the heck? I'm only getting 6 science? What's going on? I mean, I think with any civ, you get certain advantages and kind of get used to them. And then if they're not there, you miss them.
Yep.
Bonuses. The starting bonus is plus 50% trade from captured cities. What could be confusing about that? That does not apply to your barb towns.
Unless there's somebody else's barb towns.
Unless there's somebody else's. It only applies to a city that somebody else settled.
I never thought about the Mongol taking barb cities.
Oh, it makes them so worth it.
What are you talking about? We did that.
I know, I never came in my mind when we did that.
I took some of yours early on, and that was when I started kickstarting my tech.
Yeah.
That your barbs were better for me. Anyway.
Oh, and GA flips do count.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so you don't always have to take them. If you flip one, it still counts. The
ancient bonus, of course, is that barbarian villages join.
The ability of it is really how many did you get. If you got 1 to 2, you're having an kind of okay game.
Especially 1 to 2 without food.
Yeah, if you got none with food, doesn't matter how many you get, it's not very good. You better hope for irrigation. But if you get, say, 1 to 2 with food and a couple others, then you're doing good. If you get 4 or 5 barb huts, a couple with food or more, then you're having a really, really good start, and you're probably going to run over people in medieval or industrial, depending. So a Mongol starting on an island, very painful.
Yeah.
Very slow, too.
Very painful.
The medieval bonus is the +1 cavalry movement. Cavalry meaning Kashik armies and knight armies.
Very useful.
Industrial is +2 production on mountains. Normally a mountain just gives you 1 production until you have an iron mine. Mongols get 3, which is better than the forest, so that's pretty cool.
Very good bonus.
And modern get free communism.
Which, if you happen to get first, you get the reduction on the factory cost.
Unless somebody has teched way past you and teched all the way up to communism before you even got to 24 techs, which doesn't happen very often.
No, or you've lost, so.
Yeah, you probably lost when that happens.
They have really good bonuses except for that one.
Oh, it's still a good bonus.
It makes things difficult.
Oh, it doesn't make it difficult.
It can make your starts pretty slow.
Yeah.
It depends on what's out there. If you get 2, yes, it's slow, or painfully dead. If you get 4, you're doing better than average. The thing about the Mongols that I really like is that their bonuses are all unique. Not a single other civ have these bonuses. And the fact that they have 5 of them that are all unique is just so much more interesting.
A lot of love went into the design of that civ. How do you start out with the Mongols?
It's usually the standard start. So, work 2 forests, get 2 warriors out.
Are you typically settling in place?
It depends on the map. Now, granted, I've been playing long enough, I can probably tell which map is which most of the time. And if I'm on a peninsula, yeah, I'm running. The settler's not going to stay there. Though, have run into people at the other side of the peninsula and gotten myself in trouble once or twice.
Yeah, but you're probably going to lose that game anyway.
Yeah, so otherwise, if I know I'm kind of in the middle of the map, moving with the Mongols, not really worth it. If you're lucky, you run into an AI and you can take them out quick, but you have to hammer out that warrior unless you get lucky with a goody hut. So
These days, I'm settler rushing almost every game.
yeah, it works. Just for me, I like settling in place because I don't want to get stuck beside a barb.
I kind of like settling next to it. You have the double city.
You get a cool double city.
Oh, I know.
People come up and take your capital, and you're like, actually, you didn't get it.
Yeah. No, I actually do like that too sometimes.
Or you could get double galley dropped. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, that's so much fun. And it depends. I mean, if you settle beside a barb hut that has no food, but it's got a forest that it can work, that's not going to be inside your capital, then you can have that seat make archers all day long.
Yeah.
And then protect both. And the best part is your culture, no matter how bad it is, you'll always flip that city back.
No, I've never thought of it that way.
If you're making like 2 culture or something like that.
Yeah, it's only 1 tile away.
I've never worried too much about flips with the Mongols. They usually get that crummy 1 pop I've got. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's actually a nice defense.
They're going to get the worst city that is on the map. Like, you can't have a worse city than the one you just got. Congratulations. Good use of your artist.
I remember Thrasher galley dropped one of my 1 pops one time, and I was like, whatever.
Early game, the 1-pops, they're great for getting horseback riding or whatever other tech you want, and then generating gold for your core cities to be driving out the Keshiks. But somebody walks up and takes one, whatever, go get it back later.
Yeah, and if they rush an archer army in it, then...
They just wasted a lot of money.
That was 60 gold to protect that little thing. Probably we would have some listeners who were like, how are you going to get the horse army, the Keshik army together so quickly? You don't have any gold. If you spend 5 turns researching it in your capital, and then you switch to hammers, but wait, that's wrong, right? So what do you do?
Morty and I have both actually come up with about 2 or 3 different ways to horse rush with the Mongols. And I have to give him some credit for the one that I use the most often, because he brought it up on my Mongol thread. So usually what happens is you send the warriors out, maybe make another one just because, if you have another direction to go. And then you set your capital to all production and just store it on Stonehenge. Now granted, if there's an Egyptian in the game with Stonehenge, well, you've won. But you'll have to store prod on a galley. Otherwise, set it on Stonehenge and have each of your barb huts set to tech.
Don't accidentally build Stonehenge.
Yeah, don't build it.
Have you ever done that?
Oh, God, no.
I have almost accidentally built Stonehenge, yeah.
Yeah, usually at the point where I start looking at the techs for horseback riding for my research, once I get to a multiple where if I put my cap for 4 more beakers per turn in to finish horseback riding, then I'll do that just to make sure. So if I'm at 12 and I'm only got 1 barb, then that's 1 turn on the cap plus 1 turn on the barb.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going at like 8 per turn, I put 2 more for the cap and it's done in 2 turns.
It's usually bad news when you have to use your cap for the science, but I know I've had to do that a lot of times.
Yeah, I've had some okay games. If you store production for 5 turns, and then you're like, man, I still don't have horseback riding. I only just have this 1 barb, and it's not doing enough. So then you switch to produce it in cap. Well, then you still got your horse at least. You got 1 horse, a little bit after 3000 BC, which isn't too bad. And then if you can like pick up a caravan or sell horseback riding, threaten somebody, you're still going to get your army together.
Oh, caravans are just amazing for the Mongols. They just...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mention HDB because he loves getting mentioned.
He's already been mentioned.
I know. But in the recent tournament, and this is the thing about the Mongols, their games are so different every single time. I recently beat him up with the Mongols, and I got 4 caravans from 4 goody huts within 5 turns.
Wow.
Oh, that's rough.
And it was just went out there, dropped off the caravans onto the AIs, which are right beside me. Like, there's 200 gold right there. I mean, he did steal one of them, so, oh well, I still got my free settler. I still got, that game I put out 4 Keshiks.
If you get your free settler with the Mongols really before 2000 BC, then you're having a pretty good game.
Yeah, it's going to be trouble for the other people.
Yeah, I tend not to get my free settler till after medieval. It doesn't really matter
Because you have cities.
yeah, all those cities are your initial expansion. Where everybody else is looking for gold to do their expansion, you've already got your expansion. You just need to do something with it. And sometimes you can get little to no gold, but lots of barb huts.
Yeah.
And it may take a while. I've had games where the very first 2 to 3 barb huts have 1 food, 2 forest. And they have tech. I could tech HBR, or I could grow them for 5 turns while I'm doing the teching. And now I've got 3 to 4 cities that can put out Keshiks in 5 turns. Easily a Keshik army every 5 turns at the worst. Obviously, after you research horseback riding, you want to switch all your tech cities back to gold.
Yeah.
So that you can get gold, and for every 8 gold that you can store, you take off 1 turn of production.
Right.
Even if you got 1 barb hut that's just working gold, in 4 turns, it'll make 8 gold, and your cap, after 4 turns, will only need 8 gold to rush the horse. Everything you got speeds it up.
And that's the way you have to think about it. You can't think of each of these cities as being its own independent city that's going to take care of its own defense and do its own teching and all these things that you might do with a different civ like China.
Which is why I think a lot of players don't like to use the Mongols.
Right. It's tricky, but you have to think of it basically as one big city.
Yep.
That just happens to be spread around.
You have to think of it as an empire instead of...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's an empire. And the Mongols had a great empire. And this is the way you make it work better.
Which I think helps you play other civs, because you really got to maximize every turn that you're given.
You have to be vigilant, too, because you can't protect those cities. You use your Keshik army to take it back or to kill any invaders that are coming in, but you can't put reasonable defenses in each of those cities. If you get a good number, if you get 4 or 5, what are you going to have, like 2 archers in each of them in the early game? I mean, you can't.
No, that's just silliness.
Yeah.
And if you did, that would be a huge waste of resources. They're not all going to be attacked, so...
I'd rather have the, 2 archers and 4 cities. That's 8 archers, 160 gold. Yeah, I'd rather have the Keshiks.
Yeah.
All the Keshiks will take map control. And that's the core for the Mongols. You take control of the map. Yeah, somebody might walk in or galley drop or take a 1-pop city, but you've got no gold. And even if you're generating gold, you're spending it almost every turn. So if they happen to get 2 gold, oh no.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get a tech off you because all you've done is research horseback riding.
Right.
Oh well.
And if they don't have that yet, then...
You've won already.
Pretty much.
Do you consider taking AI caps, another player's cap, if it's a free-for-all game?
Oh, it's all very useful.
If I can just kill my opponent right away, I guess that's fine, but that wasn't really much of a game.
For me, it depends on how many barb huts I got and how much gold I got out of it. If I can only afford to get, say, 1 or 2 Keshik armies out by 2,000, then I'm not going to go gunning for my opponent too much unless I can see that he's very lately defended. If I've already killed his horses, then sure, I might go try and take one of his cities, but I'd rather take an AI city, especially at 3,000 or between 3,000 and 2,500. Because at 3,000, the AI cities go to 3-pop, and at 2,500, all but the Chinese will just be getting bronze working. So you have a 5-turn window in there where you can grab a nice 3-pop city.
I think the Aztecs might get it sooner, but they're a bit more of a pain to take.
Yeah, they'll rush a warrior once in a while, and then just go straight to teching. And that's another key thing. Abuse the AI. It might take a little bit longer to get the Keshik armies out, but if you can put out 3 to 4 of them, you start taking out cities. AI caps...
Rewards are greater.
Yeah, you get plus 50% trade.
Adds up like crazy.
It does. It's awesome. No matter who's the best tech civ on the planet, no matter who's the best gold civ on the planet, I take your city, I just made it 50% better than you'll ever make it. That wins a lot of games.
It's challenging sometimes, I think, to really capitalize on it. But once you do, I mean, it just starts snowballing and gets more and more powerful.
For me, it's all about getting that initial push going, getting to irrigation so you can get all those barb huts up. And I will actually grow every city that can grow, even the city that has just 1 plains. I'll actually grow it. I'll probably start it a little earlier after I get 1 or 2 Keshik armies out. I'll still grow it to 2-pop so that when I hit irrigation, it becomes a 3-pop city.
I do that too.
My problem is if they can get to me before I start putting out Kasheks, like in those first 10 turns or so, if I have to build warriors for like an Aztec defense or something, then I know it's just going to be brutal.
Yeah.
But that's actually one of the best parts about the strategy with the Mongols, where you're storing production in your capital. If somebody comes charging at you with a really fast horse rush or a bunch of warriors or something, then you just switch your production over to warriors, and now you've got 3 or 4 of them, or more.
Well, that's true, but then it's really hard to recover from that. I mean,
Well, I usually do the defense and then sell them.
Right.
If I've got a city that's in the middle of land, no tech tiles, I'll actually have it build warriors and sell them. They build a warrior every 5 turns. You sell the warrior for 10 gold. It'd be the exact same as if you had a barb hut that was working a water tile. Every 5 turns, it would make 10 gold.
That's a good thought. And you might need that warrior for something also.
Yeah, exactly. Mongol economics are very different than normal civs.
You gotta think about how you can squeeze out every little bit.
You're probably not looking to end the game in medieval.
Now, medieval is kind of
It's a building time, harassing,
teching,
getting more cities.
Yeah, taking other people's cities. Expansion for me is not me expanding unless I've got 3 cities. If I've got at least 4 or 5, medieval for me is letting you expand and me take it.
You're not really building settlers at all.
Very few. If I've got a bad game going, then I'm going to have to push out some settlers. Or if I see like a really awesome spot that I'd rather take, say if it's a 1-tile island, because those are always really hard to take over.
Yeah.
I'll take it myself. But I won't really bother with trade cities other than what I have if I've got 2 or 3 Keshik armies out.
I'll use die. I like die with the Mongols. Especially double die, I'll go for it. Because I'm probably teching towards monarchy to get those knights with the +1.
Oh, definitely. But the thing is, one of my tricks that I used to get to the top 10 pure was I did leave 1 or 2 AI in the game. And then after I got to Code of Laws and had Republic, I sold it to them. And then instantly, no matter what's going on, all of the AI that you sell Code of Laws to will start switching to settler production and start sending them out.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, they so often pick just terrible spots for their cities.
Yeah, with no water. And you're like, oh, I don't really want that.
We got a hill and a plains and some desert. Enjoy.
Yay! Hey, that desert's now worth 2.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
Sometimes they put them in okay spots, but they're not going to pick the best. But it does help.
So how are you looking to finish the game? Are you looking to use knights or bombers or artillery?
If I'm having an okay game against a good opponent, then I'm definitely going to go knights. And I'm also going to go knights in industrial. Most people would rather do knights in medieval because they're cheaper to rush. But if you're Mongols and there's mountains on that map, you take a settler, you drop it beside 4 mountains, that's 12 production per turn. And you didn't have to build anything.
Almost a knight every other turn.
Yeah, again, you're back to the Empire thought. If you've got a couple small barb huts that can't really build anything, well, you switch them to gold. Now you do have a knight every other turn.
Yeah.
And since they move 3, you don't have to be so close together to form the armies.
I really think that +2 production for mountains is a pretty good bonus.
I think it combines well with the +1 movement of knights and horsemen, because you get the knights and maybe they're a little bit later, but you can't defend all your cities, or you've already lost if they can, so just hit them where it hurts.
I think it combos pretty nicely with barb villages, because those are next to mountains so often.
Yep.
And you have this thing, and it's a little thing, and it's not much good right now, but you can do some science from it for a while, and you can do some gold from it for a while, and eventually you'll be in industrial, and now, even if it's still just 2 pop, if you got 2 mountains there, then that's 6 production, which is
decent. After I hit knight, I'll try to make sure I'm in industrial, and once I am, I'll just produce knights from any city that's got more production than it does trade. Get knight after knight after knight. I did that recently in one of the PS3 tournament games, and it was the horde cometh.
Yeah. And if they're going for Oxford, you can really slow them down. And if they get it, that's bad news, but you're probably more likely to take a city that has it, and maybe you'll get advanced flight with it. So, you never know.
And that's the other thing. If you do know your opponent's trying for Oxford because they're nowhere near knights or religion and went straight into banking, and that's usually the big flash for me is when somebody has banking, then look for their production city. Even if you've only got 1 or 2 knight armies, you put them next to their city, which is likely only going to have an archer army there, they'll automatically switch all that production into units.
Yeah.
And then you'll have made them waste it.
They can get industrialization, but Oxford is still very expensive. So without the production, it's tough to do.
I'll take the knights because they're going to speed through cities. If you get Oxford and I've got 3 knight armies, well, your very closest city is likely going to get taken and I'll get something out of it. Now, granted, somebody gets Oxford bombers, it doesn't matter what civ you are, it's going to be painful.
Unless you can spread out, if you have more production, maybe you get into modern and you switch to communism and you have a bunch of mountain cities.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if they don't have any boats roaming around, they're going to have to use the mainland to actually take your cities, and it can definitely be a problem with your knights roaming around.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Ignore the bombers, attack all the other units.
Or attack all the cities trying to get advanced flight yourself, because once that advantage is gone, if you have more production, you're just going to win.
Oh, exactly. Mongols hit modern, you've got communism with plus 50% production, plus you've got mountains that give you extra 2 production. If you got communism first, you've definitely got cheaper factories, so you manage to get industrialization, and you're just cranking out the units.
Yeah, I think communism for regular players is very underrated government. When I see people hit Anger Water, I don't usually see people switch to it, but it really does help. It makes things just that much faster. Throw in the mountains in a factory, maybe an iron mine, and it's over.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, ooh, I don't get to have culture from temples.
Yeah. That's such a negative bonus.
What temples?
For our style of play.
Mongol culture is a little different. Playing against the Mongols, is that necessary?
I think it's, get to them early.
It's kind of obvious what you need to do, yeah.
The earlier you get to them, the better.
Get up in his grill.
There are a few strategies that I find that are harder for the Mongols to go against. Anybody who does expansion, which all good players do, if they actually follow that properly, the Mongols have a decent game because they can go in and take cities.
The Spanish or maybe a Japanese island hopper would be a bit more of a problem.
Yeah, they tend to be a problem. Anybody who does the tech and turtle actually is hard for the Mongols. A Greek player who puts in a couple of hoplites and gets some legion armies for defense.
A very distant Egypt with Colossus.
Problem for everyone.
Or an English player who's got longbowmen and also went for legions or went for a fast feud or something.
Then you just go to plan B for
Just
expand.
Yeah.
Bombers. That's a case for bombers.
Yeah, plan B for bomber.
Yeah. The plan B is bombers.
Playing the Mongols, it means never having to say you're sorry.
No,
That is true.
My take on things. You start with so little that whatever you can accomplish, it's just pretty awesome.
I think they're the one civ I've never gotten a nasty message for, using horses or whatever. People tend to go quietly after that. They lose to the Mongols.
Just in awe.
Yeah, they're like, huh.
I lost to the Mongols.
Yeah, clearly you know what you're doing.
I've gotten some nasty messages, but it's usually about other things.
Yeah.
We see on the forums all the time people kind of complaining about it or saying, I don't understand, the Mongols are too... I like the way that they're just a little extra challenging to get it started. They're not for beginners, really.
No, I would not teach a new player the Mongols.
No, but they teach you more about the game than playing China or America or the Zulu ever would.
That's for sure. Mongols, great civ or greatest civ?
They're a great civ. They're
Not the greatest.
They are the greatest in my mind.
Oh, you heard it here first. MadDjinn says the Mongols are not the greatest.
I'd say most unique.
They are the most unique. They're the most fun to play, personally.
Most licensed to just be like, in your face, man, you lost to the Mongols, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you next time on RevCast.
Thanks for having me.
For more information about RevCast, sibling shows PolyCast and ModCast, or about PolyCast in general, log on to the series' official website at thepolycast.net.
Record date August 18th, 2010.
Civilization Revolution sound clips copyright Take-Two Interactive.
Copyright Civilized Communication at civcom.net.